Hello and welcome to this video. We're going to be talking about the Long Island Railroad and my least favorite cars of the fleet of the Long Island Railroad, which I've said a few times here. As you know, the cars that are off to the right, the M7s, are in really bad shape. They're over 20 years old, and they're having problems with the windows, whereas the M9s are much better. Usually I see the M9s on the Babylon line most of the time, but a few times I get them on the main line as well, but usually they're on the Babylon line. It's usually where I see them, of course. But sometimes I get them on the main line. But there's an article in Newsday today about the windows on the M7s. And look, the M7 cars are junk, all right? I know I'm going to get a lot of hate for that comment. Some people think they're okay, all right? They're not only are they over 20 years old, and you're never going to get the life out of these cars that you got out of the M3s, which the M3s are actually a much better train, much better ride quality. You can see out the windows. The M7s, not only do you have issues with the windows not working, but you also have issues with, the windows you're not being able to see out, but you also have HVAC issues. I mean, this has been an issue now for the past couple of years where the HVAC doesn't work. It's only on the M7s where you get in a car, there's no HVAC on it, or the lights are out. These things, Bombardier is not a good railroad train manufacturer. These things are junk, all right? They ride like crap. They sway. They're noisy. They've been that way since we've gotten them. They're junk, all right? I'm sorry, but they're junk. This is like the Grumman fiasco back in the city in the 80s with the Grumman buses and the cracked frames. These things they're crap, all right? So anyway, we're going to read this article, and if you're done reading this article, I'm starting to come to the conclusion the MTA maybe need to think about replacing these M7 cars. But anyway, so let's talk about it here. Long Island Railroad's window panes. Blurry views from wind trains aggravating riders, but no fix in sight. So this is aging windows of trains offering impaired views. And this is a problem now. Now, New Jersey Transit has this issue, but they are going to be replacing the windows in their train cars that are suffering this problem. But the Long Island Railroad is not doing that. So it says here the problem is clear. The LIRR train windows are not. Sun-damaged plastic windows on the majority of the Long Island Railroad's electric fleet. Let me see if we can make this a little bit larger here. On the majority of the Long Island Railroad's electric fleet have become, because the M7s are the majority of the fleet, and they're shot to hell, all right? Have become a frequent target of complaints among the LIRR's 280,000 daily commuters, many of whom say they often can't tell what stop they're at because of the hazy views from their seats. Of course, they interviewed somebody from the South Shore. Seaford commuter Paul Erickson likened the murky view to an impressionist's painting. In the last couple of years, it seems like a lot of them are glazed over. It's almost like there's a piece of waxed paper over the window, said Erickson, 52, a daily LIRR rider for 17 years. People would like to relax on the way home, and part of that is looking out the window. The problem is not unique to the LIRR. Sister MTA Railroad, Metro North, also has been dealing with the near-opaque windows, as has NJ Transit, which has recently announced $15 million window replacement effort. But despite growing concerns from LIRR riders on unsuccessful experiments aimed at improving visibility, the railroad's president said there are no plans to replace the windows. Instead, the railroad will prioritize preventing the problems on future train cars, which likely are still years from being rolled out. The problem is concentrated on LIRR's 828 pieces of junk M7 electric trains, which make up, I know my friend loves to go, he loves when I say that. But it's true. I think the M7s are junk. Go ahead. I know I'm going to get hate for it, but I think they're junk. All right. Unfortunately, the M7s make up more than 60% of the railroad's fleet of about 1,300 cars. So we probably need to order about 830 M9s. We should get on it and replace all these M7s. That's what I would do if I was the president. But and I was running the show at the MTA. Either that or replace the windows on the cars. But the cars need a lot more than that. This is just on the windows. Like I said, I've said the M7s have a whole host of problems. The bathroom doors don't close properly. HVAC problems. The ride quality is absolutely abysmal. If you get motion sickness, you're definitely not going to like a ride on an M7. So anyway, I mean, M3 is like way better. All right, way better ride on an M3. All right, but anyway, let me get back to the article here. The windows on the cars, which first hit the rails in 2002, that's right, they're over 20 years old now. That's why I think the MTA needs to think about replacing them, are made of polycarbonate material that railroad officials say deteriorates over time as it is exposed to the sun's ultraviolet rays. The worn state of the LIRR windows after 2 decades should have been entirely predictable, according to Dwayne Priddy, Sr., CEO of Plastic Expert Group of Midland, Michigan, which has studied the pros and cons of using plastic windows on trains. Yeah, they use the plastic instead of glass, I think, to cut down on the weight. 20 years ago, 20 years is a long time, Priddy said. After that, all bets are off. In a statement, Aaron Donovan, spokesman for the MTA, the railroad's parent organization, acknowledged window fogging, which he blamed on years of sunlight exposure. But he noted the M7 train cars have a better long-term service reliability than any other car that has ever run on the LIRR. Well, they claim they're reliable, but I'm telling you, they ride like crap. They claim they're reliable. I don't know. I don't think they're that reliable. I really don't. I think they're junk. All right, that's what I think. I know I'm going to get hate for it, but that's my own opinion. It may not be the fact. That's just my opinion. All right. The LIRR's newest fleet of M9 cars do use a similar window and could similarly degrade over time. The 202 new train cars, which cost the railroad about $3.6 million per car, began rolling out in 2019, and the last one arrived earlier this year. The damage, which includes discoloration, blurriness, and tiny cracks known as crazing, is more evident on southern-facing windows because they can move in either direction. There's typically no need to turn electric trains around. On Metro North trains, which travel north and south, the problem is more evenly distributed. We've talked to different manufacturers and seen what we can do to slow that deterioration down, remediate it. To this point, we're unable to do so, LIRR President Robert Free said when asked about the issue on September 25th. To replace the windows would be an exorbitant amount of money and work because we'd have to take the cars apart to get to those windows. Again, New Jersey Transit's doing it. Why can't the MTA? Is there something about the way the M7s are designed that make it more complicated because the M7s are pieces of junk? All right? I don't like the M7s. I hate them. All right? I'm sorry. I don't like them. I never liked them since day one. All right. Getting back to the article here. All right? MTA officials would not provide a cost estimate for replacing the damaged windows. While improving the view from the LIRR's existing electric fleet may be a lost cause, Free said the railroad aims to avoid the problem in the future by returning to glass windows on its next fleet of trains, dubbed the M9As. The LIRR previously used glass windows on trains before switching to, I'm going to scroll down here, carbonate, polycarbonate, because it was much lighter and we thought it would hold up better. The 100 remaining M3 cars still in service, despite being nearly 40 years old, offer passengers a cleaner view than most newer trains. And they sure as hell ride a lot better. And honestly, every time I've been on an M3, for the most part, I have good heat and good air conditioning. I can't say the same for the M7s. But the MTA is only now beginning work on purchasing its next fleet of LIRR trains. The MTA's newly proposed 2025 to 2029 capital program, which must be funded and approved by state lawmakers, earmarks $1.6 billion for new LIRR trains, including 160 M9A cars. I probably would get about 800 M9A cars, and let's get rid of these M7s. I know. I'm wasting money. I know. At the least, the M7s need some kind of overhaul, all right? And that includes replacing the windows. Honestly, I'd rather keep the M3s around longer, all right? The MTA still has not awarded a contract for the car, so that hasn't happened yet. Now, NJ Transit, on the other hand, is spending $15 million because NJ Transit, obviously, I mean, they have their issues, but they at least care a little more about their riders. Because, again, you have a Governor Phil Murphy, who actually cares about people, not a corporate hack like Hochul. So, anyway, NJ Transit is spending $15 million. And while MTA officials have suggested replacing the damaged windows isn't a viable option, NJ Transit, the third largest commuter railroad in the nation behind the LIRR Metro North, announced last month plans to do just that, facing complaints from its customers over the cloudiness of its windows, which are also polycarbonate and nearing the 20-year mark. NJ Transit said the $15 million will replace windows on about 429 train cars. In an interview on October 1st, NJ Transit spokesperson Anthony Greco said the agency arrived at the decision after consulting with infrastructure experts about possible solutions. Ultimately, Greco said NJ Transit declared that full replacement was the most cost-effective option. Obviously, a significant element of the customer experience is your ride on board our vehicles, Greco said. Ensuring we optimize the customer experience was certainly a priority. And again, being able to see out the windows is important, and it's a safety issue as well, I think. And that's even though all my windows face an alley, I can still see out them. Imagine if you can't even see out the window. That is a big problem. Asked about NJ Transit's choice, MTA Chairman and CEO John LIRR, referencing several recent NJ Transit power-related service disruptions, said, "If I were a New Jerseyan, I would vote for repairing the power systems first rather than the view." What a stupid comment, once again. Again, NJ Transit has no control over those power systems. Most of them are owned by Amtrak. All right? What a stupid comment from John LIRR again. Shows how out of touch he is. He's obviously a Hochul hack. You know, he loves Hochul. Hochul's a lousy governor, and the way she's running the MTA and the way she's running the state, and this whole thing with the windows is ridiculous. Funny how this didn't happen. I'm sure if even Andrew Cuomo was a better governor. I think if he was the governor, this would be getting dealt with. But Hochul, she doesn't care. Comac resident Robert Austin, 54, who commutes on the LIRR train from Huntington, said he can understand how it irks a lot of people. Because you want to try and, kill some time and look out the window while you're on the railroad. And most of the time you can't see anything other than just a blur. He knows everybody wants to keep their costs down, but wondered if the railroad could reduce the damage through polishing or buffing the hazy windows, as is routinely done on car headlights. Before giving up on the old windows or spending money to replace them, the window expert also suggested investing in some attempts to remediate the problem, like buffing or using waxes that can fill in tidy scratches. Buffing could be worse, according to MTH spokesman David Steckel. Past experiments were not successful and were labor-intensive. He noted some of the damage is well below the surface, and buffing could make the windows more vulnerable to damage because it would further wear away a protective coating on the windows. The vulnerabilities of polycarbonate materials are well known, noted Pretty, who said his firm has performed several forensic failure analyses for windows. In addition to oxidation damage from UV rays, the windows can lose their transparency due to abrasions caused by tiny particles in the air and because of chemicals in cleaning agents and in the rain. While glass windows are heavier, potentially driving up energy costs, and more prone to fracturing, and that's what the diesels use, by the way, the C3s, they are less vulnerable to the elements. Waiting for his train to pull out at Grand Central Madison, commuter William Gonzalez said the condition of the windows beside him doesn't really bother me. He said he could think of better uses for the LIRR's money, including reducing fares. Usually I know where I'm going, so I can anticipate the environment is going to be what the environment is going to be outside the window. Gonzalez of the Bronx said, "They can have all the windows blacked out. I'll be okay as long as I get there." So there you go. And honestly, I think it was a mistake using the polycarbonate. And the M9s have the polycarbonate too. All right. But glass, I mean, I understand why they wanted to go with the polycarbonate, but Think about it. 20 years is a decent life for a window, and I don't understand why replacing them should be such a big deal. I think the MTA should do it. All right. If NJ Transit can do it, then why can't the MTA? Just like NJ Transit can somehow have reduced fares at all times, NJ Transit can also have a fare holiday for a week. If the MTA couldn't do that, so I'm just wondering here. It's kind of interesting. That's all I'm saying. Um, Obviously, yeah, I don't like the M7s. I think they're horrible cars. All right, I understand that they are the backbone of the railroad fleet, and they claim that they're reliable. Blah blah blah. But I'll be very happy every time I see an M9 pull up, or even an M3 pull up. And then when I get this piece of junk pulling up, I'm like, oh shoot, I know I'm not probably gonna have to go to the next car because the air doesn't work. It's gonna squeak. It's gonna make noise. It's gonna go like, I mean, these things are junk. All right, I know they claim they're reliable, and they very well be reliable, but the quality, the build quality of these M7s is just trash. I'm sorry, that's my opinion. All right, they will never last as long as an M3. M3 rides way better. All right, so whatever. Let me know your opinion in the comments. Sure, I'm gonna get some hate from M7 people. Think the M7s are great, but I don't like them. Guess what? I don't have to like them. All right, I think they're junk trains. All right, I think the M3s are good trains. I think the M9s are good trains. Kawasaki's a good company. Of course, you can't beat Bud, but Bombardier, otherwise known as, I used to call them Bombardier. No, they're really called Bombardier. They're just junk. All right. Oh, and just some comments to prove that these M7s are junk. Look at some of the comments here in the YouTube video here. That Channel 7 also did a video on it as well. It says, it is a nightmare. The glass is the least of the problems. Riding the train and being tossed side to side because the stabilizer system is in service. So, again, the stabilizing system in the M7s is horrible. The clanking, the deafening clanking and metal grinding of the coupling system, and the horrible ergonomics of the seating that give you lower back pain. Yes, I'm not the only one who thinks these M7s are junk. Anyway, that's it.